Hi, last night I watched the Australian horror comedy Little Monsters. It's the story of a failed musician called Dave, thrown out by his girlfriend after he fails to show any interest in the future or developing as a human being in any way. Is taken in by his far more practical sister Tess and roped into looking after her son, Felix. Taking him to school one morning, he meets his kindergarten teacher, Miss Caroline, played by Lupita Nyong'o, and instantly falls for her. And trying to demonstrate what a good guy he is, he volunteers to help supervise a trip to a farm park the following day. Little do they know, however, that the farm park is next door to an American military facility, and that the experiments they've been conducting there on zombies have got out of hand, the zombies have escaped and are starting to swarm all over the park, meaning that Caroline, whose first name is in fact Audrey, and Dave have to keep the children safe and also protect them from the knowledge of what's actually happening, telling them that it's an elaborate game of tag and that they can't allow the people who are somehow covered in jam to touch them, or they'll be out. And if they stay in, then they'll get a special prize. The situation is not helped, meanwhile, by the presence of beloved TV children's presenter Teddy McGiggles, played by Josh Gad, who it turns out is possibly the worst human being alive, wildly selfish and foul-mouthed, completely inappropriate when not in front of a camera, and a massive liability to all the others. Um, in many ways, this is quite rote and quite cliched. I was surprised given how much the advertising focuses on Nyong'o's presence, as she is obviously a big name, that she's really not the main character at all and barely doesn't even feature, I think, in the film for the first third or so. We're just following Dave around as he seems completely unaware how badly he's ruined his own life, behaving completely inappropriately at all times, swearing at his nephew, letting him play violent video games, taking him back to his old flat to try and persuade his girlfriend to take him back, only to walk in on her having sex with a colleague, while Felix, dressed as Darth Vader, watches with childish interest. Um, a lot of that is very funny, and then when the zombie plot kicks in, it kind of loses that element because it's more focused on the zombie element. As Dave gradually matures in this crisis, and after making a series of very bad impressions on Miss Caroline, demonstrates that he is actually capable of looking after children and behaving responsibly and even saving people's lives, whilst also making sure that Teddy doesn't endanger their lives forever. Um, the real novelty in this is seeing Lupita Nyong'o, who normally plays in such serious, weighty, dramatic material, here the romantic lead in something that is very lightweight, and it works really well. She's a very bright, sunny, likable presence here, singing songs on the ukulele to entertain the children, performing Taylor Swift songs, even to the extent where Nyong'o wrote to Swift directly, asking if they could use "Shake It Off" in the movie, and was given permission. So it's really refreshing to see her expand her range, or not expand her range, but demonstrate her range in such an unusual way. It's a tremendously likable character. We see that there's more to her than just the sunny, fun children's teacher, that she has quite a bit more depth and background and has almost a dark and troubled past that led her to her calling as a kindergarten teacher. And that's something where Dave can empathize with her, and they finally connect emotionally. The zombie action is very violent, very gratuitous, very very graphic, but it's meant to be. It's meant to be over the top and silly and fun. The zombies are even more shambolic and slow and dim-witted than in almost any other zombie film I've seen, which makes them even less of a threat. But it means that it doesn't make the film too frightening because of all the children who are potentially in danger, even though, as far as they're concerned, it's just all a game. But overall, it's a light-hearted and enjoyable film. It's not something that's tremendously deep or complex, but it's likable enough. It undermines some cliches of the horror genre. It goes in a few original and unusual directions. A lot of the comedy is very funny. Gad is enjoyably obnoxious. Our two leads are likable and have believable chemistry. And overall, it's surprisingly lightweight and enjoyable and fun horror comedy. And I'd look forward to seeing Nyong'o in something else that's similarly light. She clearly has untapped comic talent. She's very likable. Um, she's obviously a great dramatic actor, that goes without saying. But it's really fun to see someone who's known for such heavyweight material take on something that's just light and fun for a change.